disease and sickness. I would try and prevent death and try and promote the future of all people to live longer and enjoy the fruits of what Earth can give to all of us. Death has always been something that I have been fascinated with, try to prevent.
You're going to be a football player when you grow up?
Today is the best day of your life. Believe it. He might be the finest quarterback produced for the last 10 years.
Philadelphia Eagles select Donovan McNabb.
And he said, I'm the best decision this organization has ever made.
He's a daylight. That's all I need.
Fortunately for me, I didn't lose my life, didn't lose my job.
Football convinced me that life is a team game.
That's right, it's a game from there.
Rest of your life. Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it.
Was this the final game on the sideline for a great coach?
I want to thank you very much for making my day in the sun so memorable.
Al Davis naît en 1929 et meurt en 2011. Une question plane alors dans le monde du football. Avec tous ses accomplissements, comment va-t-on se souvenir d'Al Davis? Comme jeune entraîneur prodige? Comme commissaire qui entraîne la fusion de l'AFL et de la NFL? Comme récipiendaire de 3 trophées Lombardi? Comme leader en matière d'égalité raciale? Ou comme le méchant devenu indispensable dans la NFL?
If there's anything we've ever done that I'm particularly proud of, I would have to say that the perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders, to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Le prestige des Raiders? Peut-être. Y a-t-il d'autres équipes sportives qui ont une chanson comme celle-là?
The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash with a silver hat about his head and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold, and the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
Aucune autre équipe n'a autant de slogans.
Commitment to excellence. There's a commitment to excellence. The greatest players. We could get the greatest coaches. The great games we've played in. The flame that would burn brightest here is the will to win. Is the will to win. Is the will to win.
Your commitment to excellence and your will to win will endure forever. You were magnificent.
That was just his thing. He didn't have a marketing group come up with that for him. Those were his phrases that he came up with, that he believed in.
Just win. Play hard. Try not to make mistakes, but don't worry about mistakes because there's only one thing that counts. Just win.
Il est le seul propriétaire à utiliser sa garde-robe comme outil de marketing.
His whole world was pretty black and white when it came to fashion. It was silver and black or white and black, and that's it. You know, he was colorblind. At least that's what we were told, and that's what we always understood it to be.
They were really an advertisement for the Raiders, and he really felt like when people saw him, they needed to see the colors. I think he was so far ahead of his time that he branded a team, and he built a framework for the league to understand what branding was all about.
Si vous connaissez les Raiders, vous connaissez Al Davis. Les Raiders sont à son image. Depuis sa tendre enfance à Brooklyn, c'est tout ce dont il a toujours rêvé.
Because as a young guy, I had a dream that someday I would build the finest organization in professional sports. And I had a lot of thoughts on how I would do it. I had the inspiration of two great organizations when I was growing up. The Yankees, to me, personified the size of the players, power, the home run, and intimidation and fear. The Dodgers, under Branch Rickey, were totally different in my mind. They represented speed, they represented development of players, a way of playing the game, the Dodger way of playing the game. And I always thought that someone intelligent could take all the qualities, the great qualities of both, and put them together and use them.
Davis devient donc entraîneur. Il passe 3 ans à la Citadelle comme entraîneur de l'équipe offensive. Il se joint par la suite à l'équipe d'entraîneurs des Trojans de l'Université de Californie du Sud. Lors de la fondation de l'AFL, il se joint aux Chargers et rencontre le légendaire Sid Gilman.
I'd known Al for quite some time. As a matter of fact, when I used to speak at coaching schools, Al, a little redhead, was sitting, he was a redhead in those days, was sitting in the front row. At the end of the lecture, Al Davis would be the first one up to talk to me. And Al was looking for a job. I thought this would be a splendid guy for the staff.
Well, I think he's a coach that Sid had a lot of respect for. He listened to Al when Al had something to say as far as game plan, that type of thing. You knew he was going somewhere. He's a bright guy, obviously, and he had his own plan.
Al Davis connaît 3 saisons réussies en tant qu'entraîneur des receveurs des Chargers. À 32 ans, il est le plus jeune entraîneur-chef et directeur général d'une équipe de football professionnelle. À venir, Al Davis mène une guerre contre la NFL.
Generals win the war, but the politicos, the politicians make the peace.
OK, on a 3 minutes devant nous. Super Écran vous propose ce week-end 5 nouveautés.
J'arrive, allez, tiens bon, attention. Vous me cherchez?
Je ne veux pas qu'il joue. Il est trop jeune. Toujours 5 nouveautés exclusives par week-end. À Super Écran.
Vous en avez assez de mal dormir la nuit et d'être épuisé le jour?
Bonjour, ici Lynn Martel. Chez Dormez-vous, nous pouvons vous aider à choisir le bon oreiller pour vous endormir plus vite et dormir plus longtemps. Comme notre oreiller de mousse mémoire apaisant, imprégné de lavande.
Un tout nouvel oreiller qui combine le soutien orthopédique de la mousse mémoire et les propriétés calmantes de la lavande, pouvant aider à améliorer la qualité de votre sommeil.
Je le dis à mes patients et les études le démontrent que l'odeur de la lavande au coucher peut aider à calmer le système nerveux, réduire l'anxiété et augmenter le sommeil profond.
Pour une durée limitée, à l'achat d'un oreiller de mousse mémoire lavande, vous en obtenez un deuxième gratuitement. De plus, vous recevrez un cadeau en prime, notre nouveau vaporisateur lavande apaisante en format voyage. Allez simplement dans l'un des Dormez-vous ou visitez dormez-vous.com pour commander votre oreiller de mousse mémoire lavande et en obtenir un deuxième gratuitement. En plus de votre vaporisateur lavande apaisante en prime. Alors profitez de cette offre incroyable.
Découvrez NFLshop.ca, la nouvelle boutique officielle en ligne pour les fans canadiens de la NFL. Découvrez une vaste sélection de vêtements et d'accessoires authentiques de la NFL, toutes les équipes et tous les joueurs que vous aimez. NFLshop.ca offre l'expédition locale et accepte le dollar canadien, ce qui signifie ni frais de douane internationaux ni frais d'expédition supplémentaires. Pour une durée limitée, obtenez l'expédition gratuite avec le code promotionnel Canada. NFLshop.ca, une expérience Fanatics.
De testostérone. C'est tout un boost, mon ami. On a ce qu'il faut pour toi.
Et c'est parti!
Ça n'a pas de bon sens. T'as le goût de te dilater la rate?
Poursuivons en humour.
On a ce qu'il faut pour toi.
Je l'ai passé le test des valeurs de la CAQ.
T'aimes la télé irrévérencieuse? Ça tombe bien. On est en démouillage. Du 31 décembre au 28 janvier à Z.
En 1963, Al Davis devient entraîneur-chef des malheureux Raiders d'Oakland. Grâce à lui, l'équipe connaît l'une de ses plus belles saisons.
The coaching staff the year before I came was 1-13, and we went 10-4. So that was the greatest turnaround. I was coach of the year, professional football. I was coach of the year. That was big with me.
Davis gère tous les volets de la franchise et change l'uniforme de l'équipe afin qu'il ressemble à celui des équipes de l'armée des années 40 qu'il idolâtre.
The precision of the Black Knights of the Hudson, their quickness, the explosion with Blanchard and Davis has always left an indelible impression on me.
Davis change aussi la culture de l'équipe grâce à des idéaux qui se transforment en convictions chez les Raiders.
I had the advantage to be with Sid Gilman at San Diego, but I had certain philosophies of my own that had to become part of whatever I was to do. And that was, number one, what I call the vertical game. We were going to stretch the field vertically. When we came out of the huddle, we weren't looking for first downs. We didn't want to move the chains. We wanted touchdowns. We wanted the big play, the quick strike. It's number one to say you want to do that. It's number two to say that you have the players to do it, but it's number three to do it. To do it on first down of any football game for that defense that you're playing against. For those cornerbacks who play out there on the corners to know that the Raiders are coming at you. They're coming at you on top, and they've got the speed to do it, and they will do it. It's like having the bomb and being willing to drop it. The adage that goes around in professional football, and I hear everyone say it, take what they give you. That all sounds good to everybody, but I always went the other way. We're going to take what we want.
La combativité de Davis et l'intérêt qu'il porte aux tactiques militaires l'aident à donner un tout autre visage à la structure défensive.
Well, the defensive theory evolved early on in the 60s to, number one, pressure. Put pressure on the pocket. I do believe that this is a game psychologically of intimidation and of fear. I don't mean cowardly fear, but fear. And I think this, that somewhere within the first 5 to 10 plays of a game, the other team's quarterback must go down. And he must go down hard. That alone sets a tempo for a game. And diversification of defense and the utilization of your corners in a bump and run principle. We used to call it the press. We got the idea from John Wooden when he had his great zone press with his great basketball teams where they picked you up as soon as you took the ball out and they pressured you. And we got the idea, we called it press, and I think it was Don Shula who started using the word bump and run, and so we changed to bump and run.
En 1966, Davis change de poste. La Ligue lui demande de mener le combat hors terrain entre l'AFL et la NFL.
We felt that the league had probably gotten to a point where we needed a different level of participation by our commissioner, our leader. And so a decision was made in 1966, and Al Davis became the commissioner of the American Football League.
And so in 1966, the great rivalries continued. The great new stars who came into the American Football League in 19...
Davis was somebody who had perhaps read The Art of War one too many times, but he was somebody who had a very military mindset. And his idea was, this is a guerrilla war.
Quand Pete Gogolak, joueur de football vedette, fait le saut dans la NFL, Davis contre-attaque.
The NFL
fired a shot with a revolver, and Al Davis responded with a machine gun. And that's exactly what he did. He went out, he said, all bets are off, and they went out and they began signing NFL players to future contracts with the American Football League.
All the AFL needed to do was sign a few stars, and they were going to, as Davis put it, bring the NFL to its knees.
We had about 4 or 5 quarterbacks all lined up. 3 or 4 of their other great players had signed, and it was a preliminary strike to let them know what's going to happen if they continue this.
Al's exit strategy was not a merger. Al's exit strategy was take them on, become their equals, then become better than them.
And then he felt he was undercut because Hunt and Tex Schramm from the Cowboys cut a merger deal behind his back. The last guy they told about the merger was Davis. And when he found out, he was really pissed off. He said there's no reason we had to settle for any of the things we did. We had him whipped.
I've always said that the generals win the war, but the politicos, the politicians, make the peace.
His interest in being commissioner ceased once there was not a war to fight. He wanted to go back to football, and so I think he was quite happy to do that and go back to competing with the Raiders and trying to win the Super Bowl.
Après le retour de Davis, les Raiders dominent. Ils obtiennent le plus grand nombre de victoires au cours des 3 dernières années d'existence de l'AFL.
1967 was my first year. And that was George Blanda's first year. Willie Brown was his first year. Gene Upshaw was our #1 draft choice. And we were a real good team. We won the AFL that year, and we went to the Super Bowl. That was Super Bowl II.
I thought that was the beginning of a real dynasty for us. That team was going to get better and better, and we drafted well, and I thought there were going to be a lot of Super Bowls.
À venir, les Raiders remportent leur premier championnat du monde.
And to the people and the community in Oakland, we're proud to represent you and we intend to hold it.
Raider un jour, Raider toujours.
Look around this organization and you see a lot of, the number of guys who are still with this organization, who is here in the 60s, such as myself and Willie Brown.
Quand je veux passer un week-end à New York, je vais toujours à l'hôtel Madison. Mais depuis que j'utilise Trivago, je me rends compte que c'est payant de comparer les prix avant de réserver. C'est tellement facile. Un hôtel? Trivago.
Moi, quand je viens chez Mike's, je suis souvent tenté de prendre la même affaire. Ah, moi aussi. Je reviens toujours au sous-marin. Parle-moi-en pas, je mange que de la salade. Avec leur sauce César, puis des petits morceaux de bacon. Ça a l'air bon. Mais hein? Mais j'avoue que ton sous-marin...
Offrez-vous le meilleur des 2 mondes avec le menu Duetto. Doublez le plaisir avec plus de 140 combinaisons possibles à partir de 9,99 seulement. Le choix est simple. Toujours Mike's.
Puis...
Une fois, j'ai pogné un requin gros comme une baleine. Et tout ça comme un phoque. Puis drette là, il a recraché mon frère Roger que j'avais pas vu depuis un bout. C'est lui qui toussait. Ça fait que j'y ai donné une fisherman's friend. Ça te garde la tête en dehors de l'eau, même quand tu vois pas le fond.
OK, on a 3 minutes devant nous. Super Écran vous propose ce week-end 5 nouveautés.
J'arrive, allez, tiens bon, attention!
Vous me cherchez?
Je ne veux pas qu'il joue. Il est trop jeune. Toujours 5 nouveautés exclusives par week-end. À Super Écran.
Quand vous vous servez de vos mains, vous avez les idées claires. Quand vous vous servez de vos mains, vous aidez votre famille, vos amis et votre communauté. Quand vous vous servez de vos mains, vous montrez de quoi vous êtes capable. Le tout nouveau Ram 1500, le camion de l'année 2019 selon Motor Trend. Louez un tout nouveau Ram 1500 2019 d'une valeur de 42 617 $ à 99 $ par semaine.
Découvrez nflshop.ca, la nouvelle boutique officielle en ligne pour les fans canadiens de la NFL. Découvrez une vaste sélection de vêtements et d'accessoires authentiques de la NFL. Toutes les équipes et tous les joueurs que vous aimez. nflshop.ca offre l'expédition locale et accepte le dollar canadien, ce qui signifie ni frais de douane internationaux ni frais d'expédition supplémentaires. Pour une durée limitée, obtenez l'expédition gratuite avec le code promotionnel Canada. nflshop.ca, une expérience Fanatics.
Est-ce que son comportement avait changé?
Elle parlait d'arrêter la thérapie. Elle avait l'air bien.
Il n'y avait aucun signe.
Dans ce cas, quelque chose s'est produit après, sans doute.
Est-ce que vous doutez que Catherine se soit enlevée la vie?
S'il y avait eu le moindre doute, Lise Delorme n'aurait pas fermé le dossier.
C'est sa façon de vivre son deuil.
Tu n'as pas de regrets, John. Tu devrais en avoir.
Cardinal, jeudi 21h, à Super Écran.
Al Davis a été entraîneur adjoint, entraîneur-chef, commissaire de l'AFL et directeur général. En 1972, il devient associé directeur général des Raiders. Pour le reste de sa vie, Al Davis incarne les Raiders et prospère comme patron.
The organizational chart flowed Al and then everybody below him. You know, you knew he was there. You could smell him. I mean, he wore a distinctive cologne, so you knew he was in the building. And, you know, he was not going to be shy about what he wanted. I think sometimes there was frustration in that his expectations of what he wanted, they were unrealistic at times.
Right from the start, you knew that it wasn't just the coaches who were looking at things, it was Al himself.
During the time I played here, Al was on the practice field every Wednesday and every Thursday, and his presence was felt.
We could be sitting on our helmet or maybe not paying attention on the sidelines, but as soon as Al Davis walked onto the football field, everybody would come to attention. Well, get off your helmet and get on one knee or stand and start paying attention. Al had that ability, and I call that fear and respect. He carried that, I think, to every player that's ever played for him.
Davis récompense le respect qu'on lui témoigne en étant loyal. Le plus sincère de ses slogans est sans contredit « Raider un jour, Raider toujours ».
Look around this organization and you see a lot of it. You know, the number of guys who are still with this organization, who is here in the 60s, such as myself and Willie Brown.
I think right now we have probably 15, 20 guys who played for him in their career somewhere along the way, still in the organization.
Le dévouement de Davis est justifié. Il est le résultat de son plus grand regret.
1961, I got a call about 5 in the morning, and it was my brother telling me that my father had died. And to this day, that is the one thing that stands out in my life that I come back and focus on, because, quite frankly, I had never really gotten a chance to thank him for all the things he did for me and all the opportunities he gave me. So I made a vivid memory of that, but I also made a promise that I would not hold back to the people who I really do love and let them know while they're living about my respect and approach to them.
When someone passed, he would tell me, well, I need you to go to the service, and I need you to take this check to the family. I mean, this happened many times that he would do things like that.
My pop's 93 now. When Dad was 80, he was going to have a bypass. And how Al found out, I have no idea. And he goes, you get him on a plane, it's all set up for him at the Mayo Clinic, and they're going to take care of that. I go, Coach, I can't. He's 80. He doesn't even get in my car to go to the doctor. I have to drag him. I can't do that. He says, I'm going to have that doctor fly into your place. I'm like, Coach. And then after the surgery, he would call me every single day to see how my dad was doing. I'll also say this. If, for some reason, he thought that you crossed the line, and you could have been there for 35 years, but if you crossed the line on him, it was over.
Les querelles de Davis sont bien connues, comme son différend avec Marcus Allen. Mais 9 autres membres du Temple de la Renommée lui demandent d'agir comme présentateur lors de leur intronisation. Al Davis est donc le présentateur le plus souvent appelé à faire des discours au temple de la renommée.
You know, talking about loyalty and what a guy Al Davis was, I said that he's the guy that, you know, if you had anything happen, you had one phone call, who would you make that phone call to? I said it would be Al Davis. I got voted into the Hall of Fame. I had a phone call to make for a presenter, and I called Al Davis.
Personne ne comprend la loyauté d'Al Davis comme John Madden. En 1969, Davis surprend le monde du football en nommant le jeune homme de 32 ans entraîneur-chef des Raiders. C'est le début d'une longue amitié.
He's someone who helped me build this organization into the greatness that it was. We were like kids. We had our dreams. He had a big ego. I had a big ego, but we were smart enough to know that we wanted the same thing.
There was no one between Al and I. And so anything that I wanted, I didn't have to go to any general manager or anyone. There was just the two of us. And Al Davis never once turned down anything that I ever wanted.
Madden obtient 100 victoires plus vite que n'importe quel entraîneur de l'histoire de la NFL. Sous sa gouverne, en 10 saisons, Oakland participe aux séries à 8 reprises. Les Raiders participent aussi à certains des matchs les plus controversés de l'histoire. Les Raiders des années 70 jouent dans de nombreux matchs célèbres. Mais leur match le plus important est celui du Super Bowl 11.
And he looks and throws. Intercepted by the Oakland Raiders. Willie Brown at the 30, 40, 50.
Group of players, Kurt. I think the Oakland Raiders, more than anybody else, have what you'd call a really conglomeration of misfits because these guys came from everywhere. Somehow they put it together. Awful lot of credit's got to go to John Madden and I guess Al Davis too.
The Oakland Raiders were magnificent on that football field today, and to the people and the community in Oakland, we're proud to represent you and we intend to hold it.
À venir, Al Davis accueille les opprimés.
We may take a player in who has been a failure somewhere else, and they have done great.
Savais-tu que la même chambre d'hôtel peut avoir différents prix? C'est pourquoi TripAdvisor cherche dans plus de 200 sites de réservation pour trouver le prix le plus bas sur l'hôtel que tu veux. Ta chambre d'hôtel parfaite à un prix parfait. TripAdvisor.
OK, on a 3 minutes devant nous. Super Écran vous propose ce week-end 5 nouveautés.
J'arrive, un diamant! Attention!
Vous me cherchez? Je ne veux pas qu'il joue. Il est trop jeune. Toujours 5 nouveautés exclusives par week-end. À Super Écran.
Chez H. Grégoire, il y a un choix incroyable. Monsieur?
Oui?
Vous cherchez depuis quand?
Ah, depuis l'ouverture!
Ce matin?
Non, l'ouverture en 93! Il y a tellement de bons choix! J'arrive pas à me décider! Oh, une voiture électrique!
Prenez votre temps, monsieur.
Nous avions planifié un mariage de rêve. Ma mère est subitement tombée malade et ne pouvait plus voyager pour assister à notre grand jour. J'avais le cœur brisé. Mais heureusement, nous avons découvert ExploreNet. Ils ont fait toute la différence en installant rapidement la haute vitesse. Notre journée s'est révélée les plus réussies parce que maman a pu la partager avec nous.
ExploreNet, branché à ce qui vous tient à cœur.
Mon entreprise, je l'ai démarrée toute seule. Mon café a eu du succès assez rapidement. Alors on a grandi vite. Très vite. Heureusement, j'ai réussi à trouver les bonnes personnes, puis on a monté une équipe vraiment solide. Mais maintenant qu'il faut prendre de grosses décisions d'expansion, personne ne peut les prendre à ma place.
Avec BDC, vous n'êtes pas seul. BDC est la seule banque qui se consacre uniquement aux entrepreneurs.
Super Écran vous propose ce week-end 5 nouveautés.
J'arrive, allez, diamant! Attention! Vous me cherchez?
Je ne veux pas qu'il joue. Il est trop jeune.
Toujours 5 nouveautés exclusives par week-end. À Super Écran.
Al Davis aime les opprimés. Il aime donner une chance aux joueurs négligés, parfois aux dépens de sa propre équipe.
This is 1974. Pittsburgh started Joe Gilliam in the game, and we beat him something like 17-0. After the game, Terry Bradshaw came in the locker room and said to me, "Can you get me out of here? Can you trade for me?" And I said to him, "Listen, I love you. I got enough problems. I got Stabler, I got Blanda, I still had LaMonica, and I can't get you, but let me put in a good word for you." Chuck Noll had been a close friend, and probably one of the dumbest things I've ever done, said to him, "Why the hell don't you play Bradshaw and stop playing Gilliam? Bradshaw can win for you." He put Bradshaw back in the lineup. They beat us in the championship game in 74. They beat us in the championship game in 75. And we had our hands full with the Steelers from then on. Because good me raised his hand and suggested that they ought to start Bradshaw.
À une époque où peu de franchises offrent aux joueurs une seconde chance, Davis leur permet de recommencer à zéro.
In the old days, usually when you got let go, that was it. They used you up and moved you on, except if Al wanted to take you.
We may take a player in who doesn't have good social habits or has been a failure somewhere else, but it's predicated on bringing them into an environment that can inspire in them the will to do great. And they have done great.
There were a lot of retreads with the Raiders, and he'd get great use out of them.
Step back, looking right. Now he'll never look again. Not this time, as Alfredo gets another sack.
How can I use a guy like Billy Cannon? How can I use a guy like Willie Brown? How can I use a guy like Matusek? I mean, on down the line, he had a plan when he brought those guys in there.
Even the bad guys that nobody else wanted end up going to the Raiders and becoming great ball players. And I think you attribute that to Al Davis dealing with people.
When you have to lead men, you don't do unto others as you would have others do unto you. You do unto them in a paramilitary situation as they want to be done unto. You have to treat them the way they want to be treated.
Dans les années 60 et 70, les joueurs de minorité ethnique et les joueurs blancs ne sont pas toujours traités équitablement.
Certain positions, you saw no black players. Most offensive lines, you had white players. Quarterback position, there were none.
I came in the league in 1967. We used to say, well, we can have a convention of the black offensive linemen in a phone booth. There just wasn't that many of us doing it.
We went into many of the predominant black schools to take a lot of the players. We called it an untapped reservoir. We wanted to win. We wanted the best players. We weren't interested in who they were or exactly where they came from.
Ces décisions incluent notamment Eldridge Dickey, le premier quart arrière afro-américain à être repêché au premier tour.
Gosh, that was a huge step for Al Davis. There was so much against him for that. They had tapped and got tackles and receivers, but here you're talking about a position where it has been orientated that this, quote, black man cannot lead. I could see what he was seeing. I could see him seeing beyond complexion. Al was saying, let it go. You're stifling the growth of a game.
Almost 2/3 of the NFL players are black, but there has never been a black head coach in pro football.
The decisions as to who gets to play and who gets to coach are made by white owners and white general managers.
I just don't know that owners have looked at black coaches as people they can be comfortable with.
But those white traditionalists who controlled the game are being replaced by more pragmatic owners led by Al Davis of the Los Angeles Raiders.
I think if any guy will be able to do it, would probably be Al Davis. I'm for you, Al. My hat's off to you.
I've always said it's not important to be consistent. It's important to be right.
En 1989, Davis fait de Art Shell le premier entraîneur-chef afro-américain de l'histoire moderne.
One thing you got to understand is the only way to play this game is you got to get down in the dirt and get nasty. Let's go.
He said, but I want you to know one thing. I'm not hiring you because you're black. I'm hiring you because I feel that you are the best possible candidate for this job at this time.
Art Shell has won in his Raider debut.
He is no longer the first black coach in the NFL. He's just a winning coach right now.
They asked Art Shell, how does it feel to be the first minority coach? And he said, I'm not the first minority coach. And they looked at him in puzzlement, and they said, well, who was? He said, Tom Flores was the first minority coach.
10 ans plus tôt, Davis embauchait Tom Flores, un entraîneur hispanique qui connaissait bien les Raiders. En tant que joueur, il est le premier quart arrière des Raiders. Comme entraîneur, il encadre notamment Jim Plunkett, un ancien premier choix au repêchage qui échoue à la Nouvelle-Angleterre et à San Francisco.
I think the Raiders was the only organization who could have really pumped some life in Jim Plunkett.
Back is Plunkett. Time to throw. Deep to the end zone to Branch. It is caught by Branch. Touchdown Raiders.
Here's a guy that I watched in New England get beat to a pulp. And all of a sudden, he's Super Bowl MVP.
Jim Plunkett climaxing as great a comeback as sports has ever witnessed.
This was our finest hour. This was the finest hour in the history of the Oakland Raiders. To Tom Flores, the coaches, and the great athletes, you were magnificent out there today. You really are.
We got 30 minutes of Raider football. We got 30 minutes away from football, and it's all ours. Let's go. No let up. No let up. Let's go.
Flores isn't just a great coach in our league. He's one of the great coaches of all time. When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players.
Just win.
You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing.
Just win.
Just win.
The Prince came calling. Prince Pete Rozelle. He had a silver slipper. He tried it on, and the only man it fit was Al Davis.
Comment l'homme en noir de la NFL se décrit-il?
Devious, ruthless, cunning.
À venir, le côté sombre d'Al Davis.
Les tensions au cou et aux épaules peuvent devenir vraiment inconfortables et les courbatures et muscles endoloris du dos peuvent être carrément insupportables. La solution pour vous apaiser, vous aider à soulager vos douleurs est de vous envelopper avec la toute nouvelle Thermopulse Relief Wrap. Cette nouvelle couverture en forme de châle au matériel ultra doux vous offre un choix de détente par la chaleur ou par un massage relaxant, ou encore les deux en même temps. Contrairement aux coussinets chauffants ordinaires qui sont petits et difficiles à maintenir en place, la Thermopulse Relief Wrap vous recouvre complètement des épaules jusqu'à la taille et son attache magnétique pratique la maintient parfaitement en place. Elle recouvre votre dos complètement et procure une chaleur apaisante pour vos muscles endoloris. Et contrairement aux coussinets de massage encombrants et désagréables, la Thermopulse Relief Wrap est douce au toucher et vous enveloppe dans un confort total. Avec un choix de 4 réglages de massage réguliers au pulsé, la Thermopulse Relief Wrap est parfaite pour soulager le stress et apaiser les muscles endoloris. Et si vous avez froid, peu importe la température de la pièce, il suffit de vous envelopper avec la Thermopulse Relief Wrap pour être au chaud dans un confort total. Son fil extra long de 9 pieds vous permet de profiter de la Thermopulse Relief Wrap sur le divan ou votre chaise préférée. La fonction d'arrêt automatique après 2 heures vous permet de profiter sans souci d'un massage doux et chaleureux, même au lit. Son tissu ultra moelleux est joli et agréable au toucher. De plus, son enveloppe est lavable à la machine. C'est l'idée cadeau parfaite pour toute occasion. Alors pourquoi utiliser des coussinets chauffants trop petits ou des coussinets de massage qui sont trop durs quand il y a la Thermopulse Relief Wrap? Des produits similaires peuvent coûter jusqu'à 125 $, mais commandez maintenant et recevez votre Thermopulse Relief Wrap pour seulement 2 paiements faciles de 39,99 $ canadiens. Et la livraison est gratuite. La Thermopulse Relief Wrap est disponible en bleu luxueux. Mais attendez, commandez maintenant et vous pouvez obtenir une deuxième Thermopulse Relief Wrap à moitié prix. C'est donc une Thermopulse Relief Wrap pour seulement 2 paiements de 39,99 $ canadiens et une seconde à moitié prix. Et la livraison est gratuite. Enveloppez-vous dans la chaleur de la Thermopulse Relief Wrap. Offert par Supertech, une compagnie québécoise. Appelez ou cliquez aujourd'hui.
Écouter, demander, se renseigner, choisir les bons mots, être gentil. Ce sont toutes des façons d'aider. La santé mentale touche tout le monde. Joignez-vous à la conversation.
T'es en manque de testostérone? C'est tout un boost, mon ami. On a ce qu'il faut pour toi.
Et c'est parti!
Ça n'a pas de bon sens. T'as le goût de te dilater la rate? Poursuivons en humour. On a ce qu'il faut pour toi.
Je l'ai passé le test des valeurs de la CAQ.
T'aimes la télé irrévérencieuse? Ça tombe bien. On est en démouillage. Du 31 décembre au 28 janvier à Z.
Pour Al Davis, l'important c'est de gagner. Mais il faut parfois enfreindre les règles.
I'm going to dominate if I can, other than maybe life or death, the things that I want. I'm going to dominate them.
Raider rule number 1, cheating is encouraged. Raider rule number 2, see rule number 1.
We had a guy named George Anderson who was our trainer. George was an expert in pets, probably most of them illegal. What he did was he took the stuff from the, like you make casts out, and then he molded it for me. What I essentially had was 2 casts. So when I hit somebody, boom, that was my first shot, right to their eye. I could take them down if they hit them just perfect.
I mean, if they were illegal or not, you know, I'm not sure. Anything that you're wearing has to be checked by the umpire in the pregame warm-up. Of course, you could not wear it in the pregame warm-up and then put it on for the game. I know that.
If they were to use the word devious just by itself, it would be annoying for the moment. But when you throw it in, they like to throw it in with, as I said, brilliant, genius, winner, devious, ruthless, cunning. No, I'll take it.
Al Davis adore ses qualificatifs. Il joue la fripouille, le vilain.
This was Al Davis's character. Clearly, this guy was a carnivore from the get-go.
Les Raiders sont méchants et jouent dur. Les batailles sont fréquentes.
And he's brought down at the 28-yard line. Here's the flag, and there's Ben Davidson being jumped on by one of the Chiefs. 2 more Chiefs come in. There's a big pile-up. Davidson and Taylor are going free-for-all.
I just like to fight. I went to Bowling Green. If I threw a punch, they sent me back to New Jersey. When I was with the Raiders, if I threw a punch, that was good, as long as it was at the right guy.
One thing they'll do is take a swing at you. If you hit them good, they'll take a swing. There's 4 or 5 guys that are demented on that team.
Les joueurs des Raiders ont la mèche courte. Le point serré est un point d'honneur. Ils n'ont aucune retenue pour certaines vedettes des équipes adverses, comme Lynn Swann.
The blow was illegal, delivered with what would seem to be some type of malice.
Pour certains, il s'agit d'actes criminels. Pour les Raiders, ils font partie du jeu.
Chuck Noll said that they were the criminal element of the NFL, but that was the way that those guys played.
C'est leur façon de jouer parce que c'est ce qu'Al Davis veut. Plus les coups sont violents, plus la réputation des Raiders grandit. À vrai dire, les Raiders ne jouent pas bien avec les autres équipes. Al Davis n'a pas la cote auprès des autres propriétaires. En 1982, il poursuit la NFL pour déménager l'équipe à Los Angeles, ce qui n'est pas les choses.
I think his entire life since the merger has been consumed with getting back at the National Football League.
The thing that disturbed me most of all was the bad faith and fair dealing. For 3 years, I waited to hear Commissioner Ozell finally tell us the reason that he wanted to split up this territory amongst the owners. They wanted it for themselves.
I feel very strongly that he is wrong, that he's doing something treacherous for this league.
What do you think of Al Davis trying to come to Los Angeles?
Well, I don't care to discuss that. That's better get that from Al Davis.
Davis was never a popular figure because he's an abrasive kind of guy. And his insistence on dominating and winning everything tends to rub a lot of people the wrong way.
Doing warm-ups before the game, he would come around and walk around our team. And he would say things like, how you doing today, you know, you're looking sharp. And you know he didn't really mean it. He was coming over to get an edge. And I thought that was pretty crappy.
En tant qu'ancien entraîneur-chef des Raiders, Mike Shanahan sait très bien contrecarrer la stratégie de son ancien patron.
We're on a 10-yard line and we're going out of the end zone. And Al is about the 25 or 30-yard line out in the numbers, just with his hands folded and, you know, watching our team. And the players saying, hey, Coach, we can't run anything over there. Tell them to get out of the way. I said, Elvis, I said, hey, throw a go route. And if you happen to get the ball close to that guy in the white outfit over there, I said, you won't bother me.
So Elvis takes the ball and throws it as hard as he can at Al Davis's head. The last second, Al ducks out of the way, and it almost hits him. He looks over and he sees Mike, and Mike's over there waving at him.
And he flips me off. Flips me off back to the huddle because he probably knew where it came from. But from that time on, I've never seen him on that side of the 50.
We just do that if it's Al Davis. We don't get the X.
When you're fighting all the time, you're fighting with the commissioner, you're fighting to move to LA, you're fighting in court, you're fighting with the city of Irwindale, you're fighting with the city of Oakland and the county of Alameda. When it's always a fight, I just believe that saps organizational energy. And I also believe that when there's so much paranoia festering and this everyone's against us.
As far as good faith, there's no question in my mind that I've never got the same treatment that anyone else got in their respective cities from the very beginning.
That keeps you from asking the hard questions as an organization.
Des questions comme comment se fait-il qu'il y ait eu un congédiement d'entraîneur-chef par année dans les 10 dernières années? Ou comment avons-nous fait pour établir un record du nombre de défaites qui ne sera peut-être jamais égalé? À venir, comment l'équipe de toutes les décennies transforme-t-elle la dernière en décennie perdue?
Avec TripAdvisor, réserver l'hôtel qu'il te faut au plus bas prix est aussi simple que tes dates, tes offres, et voilà. Tu prépares un voyage d'affaires, tes dates, tes offres, et voilà. Un mariage à l'étranger, tes dates, tes offres, et voilà. Avec TripAdvisor, il suffit d'entrer les dates de ton séjour et on s'occupe du reste, en cherchant dans plus de 200 sites de réservation pour trouver la meilleure offre. C'est aussi simple que tes dates, tes offres. Tu connais la suite. Voyez les avis, vérifiez les prix, réservez aux activités. TripAdvisor.
Pour un soulagement de la congestion nasale sans médicaments, essayez Navage.
Navage est le seul nettoyeur nasal avec succion mécanique et irrigation saline qui circule d'une narine à l'autre. Navage soulage naturellement les allergies et les rhumes en éliminant les allergènes, le mucus, la poussière et les germes.
Il m'arrivait souvent de souffrir de congestion des sinus, mais Navage a réglé le problème. Je peux enfin respirer.
Disponible chez ses bons détaillants et à navage.ca. Vous apprécierez cette irrigation nasale.
Est-ce qu'on va finir par rencontrer un conseiller? On n'a pas une journée de libre!
Bonjour, je suis Julie de la banque CIBC.
Ah, bonjour!
On vous aide à établir vos priorités avec des conseils qui peuvent venir à vous.
Para o ponto! Premier essai qui est obtenu. Burkhead dans le territoire adverse. On est à sa poursuite. C'est un long gain pour Rex Burkhead.
Notre Super Bowl, le 3 février dès 17h30 seulement sur RDS.
Le repas Valeur King à 4,99. C'est 2 sandwichs, une frite et une boisson pour 4,99. 2 hamburgers au fromage ou poulet junior ou un de chaque avec frites et boissons. Le repas Valeur King à 4,99 seulement chez Burger King.
Est-ce que son comportement avait changé?
Elle parlait d'arrêter la thérapie. Elle avait l'air bien.
Il n'y avait aucun signe.
Dans ce cas, quelque chose s'est produit après, sans doute.
Est-ce que vous doutez que Catherine se soit enlevée la vie?
S'il y avait eu le moindre doute, Lise Delorme n'aurait pas fermé le dossier.
C'est sa façon de vivre son deuil.
Tu n'as pas de regrets, John. Tu devrais en avoir.
Cardinal, jeudi 21h, à Super Écran.
On peut réussir en bateau, non?
Cette semaine, Catherine Brunet et Rémi-Pierre Paquin vont à la pêche. Ils se perdent dans le bois après avoir pété leur bateau. Expédition extrême, mercredi 20h à Z.
As Marie Lombardi once wrote Caroli and I, that's Carol, my wife, a note after we had won our first Super Bowl, enjoy it now because fame is fleeting. And she wrote again, enjoy it while you can.
Al Davis parle souvent du flambeau qui éclaire la voie des Raiders d'Oakland. En 2001, la flamme vacille. Après le fameux match du Tuck Rule, Davis envoie l'entraîneur-chef John Gruden à Tampa Bay. En 2002, les Raiders participent au Super Bowl pour la première fois en 20 ans. Ils se font battre par une équipe qu'ils connaissent bien.
The dagger's in. We're gonna win the Super Bowl.
Mais il est fort possible qu'Al Davis remporte un autre trophée Lombardi. Dans ce nouveau millénaire, lorsque Davis monte sur le podium, le ton est bien différent.
Bill Callahan as he carries the torch. He carries the torch for us all now.
Guy who I'm tapping, and the Raiders are tapping to lead us back.
I say it with pride. I want you to meet, ladies and gentlemen, Norvell Turner.
Art Shell.
Tom Cable.
You all feel good about this?
Yeah, well, great. No, you feel good about it, that's all. Just gotta win. Passion.
À Oakland, les bons sentiments ne durent pas longtemps. Comme le mandat des entraîneurs lorsque l'équipe perd au moins 11 matchs en 7 années consécutives. C'est un record dans la NFL.
This morning, I called Lane and told him that he no longer is the head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And I'm dismissing him with cause.
He was so into trying to get this team turned around. He was trying so many things.
I just want to win, baby. That's it.
Committed to excellence.
Il essaie ce qui a déjà fonctionné, mais n'obtient pas toujours le succès escompté avec les défavorisés, ni même avec les joueurs vedettes. Certains choix étonnent, comme le batteur sélectionné au premier tour.
Big, physical. It was the New York Yankees and it was the Brooklyn Dodgers, and that's really who Sebastian Janikowski was. He could hit the home run.
When he drafted somebody and they thought, well, that was a dumb pick, he didn't care.
The Oakland Raiders select Darius Hayward Bay. That is a classic Al Davis pick. The fastest guy at the combine. My issue is inconsistent hands. That is way earlier than he should have been picked.
It sure seemed like his eye for talent jumped the shark, but in retrospect, did it? You get Jacoby Ford deep in the 2010 draft, and you get Denarius Moore in the 5th round of the 2011 draft.
It is caught by Denarius Moore!
You see those guys play, it's tough to say, wow, he's completely lost his touch.
Al Davis est peut-être encore l'un des grands esprits du football. Mais alors qu'il approche de ses 80 ans, le vieil entraîneur a du mal à se tenir sur les lignes de côté.
I think he was in a lot of pain. He always wanted to show strength. Even in times of despair, he always wanted to be the strength of the organization. No one knows what it's like to be in those shoes and to feel like you can't do the things you used to be able to do.
En 2011, Davis passe le flambeau une dernière fois en embauchant Hugh Jackson qui appelle Davis entraîneur.
When you can have talks with your boss about the actual X's and O's, it's the first place I've been dealing with the owner where I can do that. There's nobody else that I've ever had to draw anything on the board for. And that's why I call him coach, because he can still talk football with me.
Al Davis meurt le 8 octobre 2011.
Al, we love you. We know that you're watching over this team. We love you. And we're going to keep playing. We're going to keep playing like Raiders for you. We're going to keep honoring this man all year. You guys know who this is for, man. Love the guy. It's on you, Jay. Let's go, man. Let's go. Win on 3. 1, 2, 3, win.
Houston, le lendemain du décès. Les Raiders tirent de l'arrière avant que le vent d'automne ne se lève.
Clearly was, I'm going after this in Al's memory.
The direct snap on Cartwright, first down. They fake the punt.
I'm not going to play this conservative game and just try to eke out a win.
Trust in the players. Players will make plays. Players that were unconventional picks.
Catch it and Bay, break a tackle and you're gone. He broke it.
Here comes Darius Haywood-Bay to make a play and turn into what Al thought he could be.
Touchdown! Raiders! Hey, I don't want to finish, baby!
You took a kicker. Why would you do that? Here comes the big field goals, long field goals, powerful field goals, the type of kicker that Al envisioned him to be.
He has made 3 from 50 yards today. Here we go, to win the game or lose the game. It's all right here. Matt Schaub out of the gun. First and goal. Back. Final play. Time. He can run forward. He pumps now. He throws. It's intercepted by Michael Huff. The Oakland Raiders have won the game.
Au dernier jeu du match, il n'y a que 10 joueurs des Raiders sur le terrain.
If I'm pitching that script, when they read that, they take a pen and go give me a break. Al was on the field. He was the 11th guy. It's Hollywood.
Hugh Jackson, Tom, is just sobbing into his hands.
They found a way to do it. And in the end, it was just win.
Hard ball win, man. Hard ball win, man. Losing that man hurt me more than you know. But you know what? Just like I told you, I know he loves you guys. Just like he loves his coaching staff and his organization.
Last question. What do you mean when you say the greatness of the Raiders is in the future?
We have young people in very key spots now running as the past as a guide, history of the organization, into the future, and make sure that they have greatness.
L'héritage qu'il laisse derrière lui éclairera le chemin de sa grande franchise. Il est le seul à avoir été entraîneur adjoint, entraîneur-chef, directeur général, commissaire et propriétaire. Mais le seul titre qui importe est celui-ci. Al Davis a toujours été et sera toujours un Raiders.
Just win, baby.
3 minutes devant nous.
Super Écran vous propose ce week-end 5 nouveautés.
J'arrive, allez, tiens bon, attention! Vous me cherchez?
Je ne veux pas qu'il joue. Il est trop jeune.
Toujours 5 nouveautés exclusives par week-end.